Welcome back. Monitoring is an essential component of any integrated pest management program. Monitoring routines give the P&P and school administrators the opportunity to find pest problems early before they become a crisis. It's unfortunate that nothing moves decision makers faster than a crisis, but with regular HSA training that school personnel receive, including in-person workshops provided by DPR, they are more aware than ever before of the real risks that reactive-based pest control programs can fail to prevent. Rodents can easily be a distraction to the learning environment when they are seen running across the floor in a packed classroom. They may also leave their telltale signs from droppings to gnawed class projects and digging in potted plants. A rodent-created crisis may include damage to electrical and telecommunication cables in the classroom or in vehicles outside. Either forms of damage can cost the school thousands of dollars in repair costs, not including the disruption to school operations. A greater risk may be that of the indoor air pollution that rodents create with their droppings and urine. Like cockroaches, indoor rodent activity has been linked to elevated levels of asthma. Additionally, with increasing prevalence of roof rats in the state, tropical rat mites and other ectoparasites are more common than ever. If you've never worked with someone suffering from the bites of these biting mites, you may not know how frustratingly itchy they are and how traumatic these infestations can be. Be on the lookout for conditions that support pests. If they remain unchanged, they will contribute to a pest problem. Be sure to report gaps under doors, penetrations in crawl space screens, overgrown ivy and dense bushes that grow against buildings, collect litter, and provide the cover that rodents thrive in. Trees that grow onto rooftops and clog gutters, cluttered indoor and outdoor spaces that rodents will build nests in, filthy trash compactors and dumpster areas, and weed grasses. If left to go to seed, they will provide rodents their preferred food and contribute to larger populations of rodents outside and eventually inside once the food source is depleted. Standing water as well. Rats, like pigeons, need 1 to 2 ounces of water per day. If you see standing water, report it as a rodent-conducive condition. Not only would that water be better used to grow food in California, it's likely contributing to rat and pigeon colonies that are a drain on our state's resources. So dumpsters are a very important place to be monitoring and maintaining and managing pests. They are open sources of food. They can be attractive to flies, yellow jackets, ants, cockroaches, and rodents. In a perfect world, we'd keep the dumpster lids closed all the time. We'd keep the areas around them maintained and cleaned, and the inside of the dumpsters would be getting washed on a routine basis. In this situation, the dumpsters are perfectly placed at this school site, which is the opposite corner from where the kitchen is. You never want to have these open sources of food near our food preparation areas where there's a higher risk from pests. Monitor for rodent evidence. Once a population has grown, rodents and the evidence they leave behind becomes more conspicuous and can easily be spotted by teachers and other school staff. With our trained and experienced eyes, we can often spot signs of rodents before anyone else has. Look for the obvious signs, including rubbing marks left by rodents as they climb up, along, and into different structural elements of the building. The rubbings are from the oily secretions or sebum of the rat's fur that they leave behind as they make their way around. While you're at it, check the collars of your shirts for the sebum stains before heading out to work. You may be due for a new uniform. All mammals secrete sebum, including us. Look for rodent burrows and nesting sites. They aren't hard to find. Usually you can find them in the last places you want to look, cramped, cluttered spaces near trash or overgrown areas. Find rodent droppings and urine stains. A black light can be helpful for this. Look closely at gaps and holes around buildings. If you look hard enough, you may find gnaw marks or rodent hairs that are a sign that rodents have gotten inside. Monitor for rodents. Besides visual inspections for evidence of rodent activity, there are a variety of tools and practices you can use to monitor for them. The primary monitoring resource at every school is the people on the ground, the school staff. Unless the staff has lived with a chronic rodent problem, they will undoubtedly not be shy about reporting pest sightings or their suspicions to facility maintenance people. Make sure that the IPM coordinator keeps track of the reports and communicates them to you, either on your regularly scheduled service, in a logbook, or by emailed work order. Another option is using baited, unset traps in out-of-the-way locations. Check them regularly for missing bait and set them if they become active and when you're ready to follow up. Monitoring this way is especially beneficial for rats, as it serves to pre-bait or condition the rats to not fear your traps. This is the Bell Labs Evo Express station. You can use this as a monitoring device and management device for rodents, as well as ants and cockroaches if you're using appropriate baits for them. This is called a self-contained bait station. Another tool more commonly used in New Zealand are rodent chew cards. These tools are commercially available, or you can make your own with plastic cardboard and bait. Affix the chew cards to hidden spaces where rodents may encounter them, like behind the bleachers, in between portables, or along a fence line behind the dumpster. Rodents will chew on the plastic and leave their gnaw marks that you can easily identify. These are good locations to install rodenticide stations, as you know they are active areas. One quick note on food attractants for rodents is the risk that students may have peanut allergies. Even small dabs of peanut butter on a trap may pose risk of an allergy attack. Consider using non-allergenic butter like Wow Butter for your traps. The cost, smell, and taste are close to peanut butter without the risk. And don't forget that rodents eat all kinds of food, so try using what they are already eating, and novel foods like whole grain breads and oatmeals or cereal bars. Finally, don't forget about proper rodent management stations. Bell Labs has a suite of Tier 1 stations that are child-proof and should be utilized in inconspicuous areas that are inaccessible to children. Consider monitoring with non-toxic baits and apply rodenticides only when they become active. This is a wet area. High moisture is a big attractant for pests. We want to pay attention to transition areas, so where the wall meets the tile, for example. This is many times where you have broken seals. Water can accumulate, and so can food debris attracting pests. We look for the seals around the wash basin. We can see that this one's broken here. So this is something that we're gonna want to have them reseal again. And then we look for utility penetrations, like under the sink, where we have these pipes coming through the wall. You can see that they're not sealed up. We also have a mouse trap that we use to monitor for mice. I'll put that there. And since it's right by the door, this is gonna be a hot spot where we could have things coming into the kitchen. Monitoring for cockroaches. Most school sites will contract for regular pest management service to their kitchens to monitor and manage German cockroaches and other kitchen pests like ants, rodents, and flies. Programs to manage outdoor cockroaches are becoming more common. However, P&P should be careful to remember that IPM is a team sport. Much of the success of a cockroach management program will depend on the school's preventative maintenance actions. It's the responsibility of the P&P to inform school personnel what specific conditions need to be abated to bring pest levels to a tolerable level. When inspecting your school site, consider using a checklist of locations that should be inspected. You can find helpful forms at the California Department of Pesticide Regulation's School IPM website and IPM certification programs like EcoWise Certified and the NPMA Quality Pro Green. The minimum places you should inspect regularly include kitchen hotspots, behind, inside, and around food preparation equipment and stations, food storage areas, dishwashing areas, staff locker rooms, and for outdoor cockroaches, pay special attention to the irrigation valve boxes and other utility hatches that these pests live in. Use a bright flashlight, not your phone, to inspect with. And consider a hand mirror or your phone to inspect the underside of countertops and food preparation areas. Use sticky traps to collect specimens and tell you what's happening around them. Follow the direction that the cockroaches came from to look for aggregations. And if you see nymphs in your traps, an aggregation site is close by. Look into crevices for their frass, remove the aggregation with a vacuum to remove adults, nymphs, eutheca, and the allergens that they leave behind. Clean-out hatches and other utility vaults like this are common harborages for Turkestan and Oriental cockroaches. Here you can see cockroach nymphs, adults, and if we look deep enough and long enough, we can probably find the eutheca. And here are the cockroach eutheca. These are the egg capsules. It contains about 30 different cockroach eggs in each one. Once you determine that a treatment is necessary, you must communicate and coordinate with the IPM coordinator. Give the IPM coordinator at least 5 days advance notice before making the pesticide application, so that they may provide the parents on the pesticide registry at least 72 hours notice of that application. The Healthy Schools Act requires that warning signs be posted 24 hours before making a non-exempt pesticide application, and keeping that posting up for 72 hours after the application. The warning sign must be posted at the entrance to the treated area. As I mentioned before, there are some exemptions to the pesticide application notification requirements of the Healthy Schools Act. The intention is to incentivize low-risk applications. Pesticide hazard is defined as toxicity times exposure. Pesticide hazard or risk can therefore be reduced by reducing toxicity or exposure. So one of the applications that are exempt from pesticide posting notifications are crack and crevice, gel, or paste treatments indoors only. An appropriate crack and crevice treatment is one where you can apply it in the crack and someone can go behind you with their finger and not get it on their person like this. Disinfectants and sanitizers are considered pesticides. When applied by school staff, they do not have to be reported. However, school staff do need training, so they have to have Healthy Schools Act training to apply them. If pest control companies are applying antimicrobials or disinfectants, they must report them to DPR. Self-contained and child-proof bait stations are also exempt from notification. To meet the qualifications of child-proof, the bait must be secured inside the station, so that if a child were to pick up the bait station and shake it, the bait will not fall or spill out. Lastly, FIFRA 25B pesticides, EPA registration exempt pesticides are also exempt from notification. These pesticides are considered minimum risk pesticides and are usually made from food grade ingredients and botanical oils. FIFRA 25B pesticides are still pesticides and may have acute risks due to skin sensitization, inhalation hazard, and ocular hazards. Treat these pesticides as you do all pesticides, with the proper personal protective equipment, and take steps to reduce exposure to students and staff by following the label and using your good judgment. P&Ps must keep records of their applications and send a pesticide use report to the Department of Pesticide Regulation. P&Ps must report their pesticide use in schools and child care centers by January 30th of the following year on the form designated for businesses. The pesticide use report contains name, address of the school site, date and location of the application, the pesticide product name, and the quantity of the concentrated or undiluted amounts of pesticides used. All registered pesticides, including disinfectants and sanitizers, must be reported. Although the Healthy Schools Act does not require non-chemical measures and EPA-exempt pesticides to be reported, this data may serve researchers and our industry with the means to evaluate efficacy of school IPM plans. While we went through the requirements of the Healthy Schools Act and the basic components of the IPM process, this is by no means an exhaustive list, and it's up to us as pest management professionals to use our experience, training, and good judgment to improve the health and safety of our communities. Thank you for your time.